In the previous classes, we have seen what is incineration, what are the types of it. Then we have seen what are the design criteria of incineration. Then three T's and its importance. And along with that, we have also seen the air pollution preventing equipment. The air pollution preventing equipment, why we are using is the fumes or the smoke whatever the incineration is going to give, that particular smoke, if we leave it to the environment, then it is going to create a problem. So in order to control that, we will be using the air pollution preventing equipment. Okay, now in today's class we are going to learn the two more thermal processing of solid waste, that is by a gasification and the pyrolysis. These two systems we are going to study it. As you know, these are nothing but these are also comes under the thermal process. Okay, these are the types of the thermal processing of solid waste. We know that the incineration, when we are going to burn the solid waste at a high temperature at above 800 degrees Celsius, what is going to happen is it is going to lose around 90 to 95% of its volume, so that the large amount of solid waste can be placed at a very less, by consuming very less amount of space. So that particular thing we are going to have in the incineration process. We are going to see similarly regarding like incineration. Today we are going to see the gasification and pyrolysis process. These are nothing but the advanced thermal technologies or alternative to the alternative conversion technologies. They typically rely on the carbon waste such as paper, that is gasification and the pyrolysis. So they are dependent upon the paper, petroleum based waste like plastic and organic material such as the food scraps can be get destroyed into the gasification and the pyrolysis process. See, when we speak regarding the gasification and pyrolysis process, we need to know now what is the basic difference between the incineration and gasification and the pyrolysis. See, the incineration process, we will be using the temperature more than 800 degrees Celsius, whereas your pyrolysis and gasification, we are going to use the temperature of lesser temperature, not up to the higher temperature, such as we have in incineration. We have used the temperature such as beyond 800, that is normally 900 to 1600 degrees Celsius we have used in your incineration process, along with the presence of air. That is, we were speaking regarding the three T's, that is the time, turbulence and temperature. We need to give it, right? Time, turbulence and temperature. That means turbulence, when we were discussing regarding turbulence is nothing but the enough quantity of oxygen is required in order to burn the solid waste in incineration process. Whereas in your gasification and pyrolysis process, what happens is we will be using either a limited level of oxygen, that is a huge amount of oxygen for burning of the solid waste is not required. That is the basic difference between the gasification and pyrolysis and incineration in terms of temperature and the requirement of oxygen. Okay, now both the processes decompose the organic waste by exposing it to the high temperature. Both processes limit the amount of oxygen present during decomposition, whereas your gasification allows a small amount of oxygen, whereas the pyrolysis allows none. Okay, it is going to say none, but very little amount of oxygen we are going to use in pyrolysis also. Okay, gasification and pyrolysis limit the or prevent the oxidation process. In this both the gasification include both starved air, and it is going to both gasification and the pyrolysis, we will be using the starved air. Okay, burning or oxidation is uh, we are going to do in the incineration, the burning of waste in incineration causes well-known negative impact, where like your public health is going to be get affected, whereas incineration emits a lot of different types of air pollutants like nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, particulate matter, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide gases, lead, cadmium and mercury, and dioxin and furans into the atmosphere. Okay, now this is regarding the difference between your gasification, pyrolysis and incineration. Now we will see regarding the gasification process. Okay, gasification produces gas. Primarily it is composed of the carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Both will have around 85%, plus it is going to give you the hydrocarbon, oil, char and ash. Okay, it is having carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas. It is going to give up to 85%, and it is also going to give the oil, char and ash. Gasification also gives such some air pollutants that is similar to your incineration process, which will be including your ammonia, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen chloride, but all these will be in the it is in the limited amount. Main gasification it is going to give is the carbon monoxide and the hydrogen. The gas produced from your MSW, that is municipal solid waste, contains the hazardous organic compounds, but technology by using this technology to remove these toxins does not exist on the commercial scale. The ash which remains after gasification, that means after burning of the some of the waste material, the 8 to 15% of original volume is toxic and presents the special problems because of the acidic and low pH conditions in the landfill. Leaching problem we also see in the gasification, and it is going to give the cadmium, lead, mercury, and then more rapidly it is going to give you the low pH, resulting in the contaminated groundwater. Whenever we are going to dump these particular ash product which is we are going to get after gasification, when they are going to be thrown onto the earth surface, when it is going to produce a leachate, then it is going to give you all these kind of pollutant in the gasification process. Okay, the gasification process is chemically and physically changes the biomass through the addition of heat. As I have told, the end products of gasification include the ash, slag, liquid, gas, and then all these kinds of waste it is going to give. The gas is going to have the higher calorific value, and it is equivalent to 25% of the natural gas. Okay, and it is also 40% of the enriched air is also going to be used in the gasification process. Now we just completed the gasification process. Now, according to your syllabus, gasification process is actually it is not given in the syllabus, but many times they have asked in the your 10 scheme. So in order to have some extra this thing, so we have covered the gasification also. Now we will be studying regarding the pyrolysis. As I have told, the pyrolysis is going to, they have told that it is going to consume very less amount of, it is not going to consume very less amount of, it is not going to consume any kind of an air, but it is in fact actually it is going to consume a very less amount of air in order to burn the solid waste material. This is also one of the thermal processes that we are going to have. Now we will see what is pyrolysis is. It is a form of incineration that chemically decomposes the organic material by heat in the absence of oxygen. As it is told, the pyrolysis it occurs under the pressure and the operating temperature above 430 degrees Celsius, whereas your incineration is going to occur the temperature above 800 degrees Celsius. This is one of the major difference between the pyrolysis and the incineration. Okay, in practice it is not possible to achieve a complete oxygen free atmosphere. As I have told, it has been mentioned that the pyrolysis is not going to use oxygen, but in fact it is practically it is impossible to burn the waste material in the absence of oxygen, and it is going to consume a very little amount of oxygen. Okay, some oxygen is present in the pyrolysis system also. A small amount of oxidation process here also it is going to occur. Okay, if volatile and some of the semi-volatile materials are present in the waste, then the thermal desorption is going to occur in case of the pyrolysis. Okay, then organic materials, that is the biodegradable materials, are transformed into the gases, small quantities of liquid and solid residue containing carbon and ash, as we are going to have in your incineration process also. We are going to have the carbon and ash. At the end product we are going to get the off gases may be also treated in the secondary thermal oxidation unit. Particulate removal equipment is also required here in case of your pyrolysis process, as the incineration process is required the different types of air pollution equipment. Here also for pyrolysis also we require some of the air pollution preventing equipment. Okay, now the several types of pyrolysis units are available, which is going to have the rotary kiln, okay, multiple hearth furnace or a fluidized bed incinerator. We have already seen regarding the different types of incinerator. So pyrolysis will also have these kinds of this thing. Okay, these units are similar to incinerator, but except they operate at a lower temperature with the less air supply, as we have discussed. This is the major difference. Okay, then we are having a molten salt process is also will be there in case of pyrolysis. In molten salt oxidation, the waste is going to be oxidized in a bath of molten salt, that is at a temperature of around 500 to 950 degrees Celsius. There is no direct flame is get produced in the molten salt oxidation, and this is going to prevent many of the problem associated with the incineration. We are going to here in the pyrolysis process, we are going to put the shredded solid waste. It is going to be injected with the air under a salt. Okay, being an alkaline, scrubs acids from the gases. The heat of the molten salt, it is going to be degrades and it is melts the waste material, because the salt bath here it is a liquid, and it is also it also removes some of the particles into the in the gas. Okay, the byproducts is retained in the melt. The gases which is going to existing the salt bath are treated by the emission cleanup system before it is going to be discharged into the atmosphere. Okay, the molten salt is going to be tapped from the reactor, cooled and placed in the landfill. The efficient pyrolysis system can be utilized for the way treating the various kind of municipal plastic waste, municipal solid waste, the medical waste and biomass and the sludge. Okay, now some of the areas where these pyrolysis is going to have have the application, it is we are going to convert it into the waste to energy. That is going to be possible in here in case of your pyrolysis. It is going to utilize the waste plastic, the waste materials like the waste plastic, tires, municipal solid waste, biomass, wooden chips, then medical waste, sewage, animal and farm paper, paper pulp. All these kinds of waste we are going to get. The end product that we are going to get from pyrolysis is, as we have discussed in the incinerator, it is going to get an electricity, steam, hot water, then a carbonized material, then oil and recovered materials. This is regarding the pyrolysis. Now we will see some of the disadvantages that are involved in the pyrolysis system. Now we will be seeing some of the limitations which are there in the pyrolysis process. The main disadvantages that we are going to have in the pyrolysis process is the molten salt that we are going to use a temperature of around 500 to 900 degrees Celsius is usually it is going to be recycled in the reactor chamber. Okay, depending upon the waste treated and the amount of ash spent during the molten salt your treatment, it is going to produce the hazardous type of waste material that we are going to, that is the byproduct we are going to get, and we require the special care when whatever the materials that we are going to burn in the pyrolysis process, these are of a bit hazardous characteristics. If we are going to dump it into the landfills, then without a proper care, then it may leach the metals to the ground, and it is going to create the groundwater pollution and all, and it is going to disturb the soil characteristics. So special care has to be taken when we are going to dispose of these particular hazardous waste material. Then the pyrolysis is not effective in either destroying or physically separating the inorganic and contamination medium. The volatile metals may also be removed as a result of higher temperature associated with the processes, but they are not going to be destroyed. The byproduct, as I have told, it is having the heavy metals, and it is going to be require some of the stabilization process before we going to dispose it into the landfills. Then one more disadvantage that we are going to have is it is going to have the limited performance for the system treating the hazardous waste containing the PCBs, dioxins and other kind of organics, and the system destroys the chlorinated organic molecule by heat, have the potential to create some of the products of incomplete combustion, including the dioxins and furans, and these particular things are not good for your regarding the air pollution. So it may create a problem with regard to the air pollution. The compounds are extremely toxic in terms of your PPT, it is, that is parts per trillion. Okay, so we needed to take care when we have these kinds of dioxins, furans that has to be liberated. Okay, the molten salt, your oxidation process reportedly does not produce the dioxins and furans. Okay, this is regarding your MSO process. So we we have seen some of the limitations in case of your pyrolysis. Okay, now just we will highlight what we have covered in today's class. We have seen what is pyrolysis, okay, what is gasification, what is your incineration process, what is the main difference between them. Remember, we need to remember the difference between the incineration, gasification and pyrolysis, and that particular difference is your incineration operates at a very high temperature, whereas your gasification and pyrolysis, they operate at a low temperature. Whereas and again, your incineration, it requires good amount of air in order to burn the waste material, whereas your pyrolysis and gasification system does not require any kind of it requires a very low amount of the oxygen in order to burn the waste material. And again, in case of your pyrolysis and all, you need to have the air pollution preventing equipment, and again, whenever we are going to dump the waste material, we need to take care when we are going to dump the heavy waste material, that is the ash, the carbon based ash. When we are going to produce, we needed to take care when we are going to dump these kind of a waste material from the pyrolysis and gasification. Okay, so this we have completed the module 2. Everything is your this is regarding water supply. Now we'll see the solid waste this thing, and let you know what we have completed. In the theoretical classes, we have completed the module 1. Then we have started our eConnect classes from module 2. In this we have studied regarding chemical volume reduction, then 3 T's regarding incineration we have studied, then air pollution preventing equipment, mechanical volume reduction, then size reduction, the different equipments we have studied. Then we have in module 3 we have studied regarding the composting, the aerobic and anaerobic composting types of it, then microbiology of that, then mechanical composting, vermicomposting, all these things we have studied. Then landfilling we have studied, sanitary landfilling, advantages, disadvantages, leachate movement, control of gas and leachate movement, design of sanitary landfill, that also we have studied. Then module 4 we have studied regarding the sources, collection and treatment of biomedical waste, e-waste, hazardous waste, construction waste we have studied. In module 5 3 T's, factors affecting incineration, types of incinerator, pyrolysis, design criteria, then energy recovery technique from solid waste management. This we have studied. So we have completed the module, all the modules, but we'll again repeat the module 1 with your eConnect, because we have taken the theoretical classes, so it will be just a repetition for you in your eConnect classes. So 2, 3, 4, 5, this we have completed in the eConnect classes. Module 1 we have completed in our normal college classes. Now again in eConnect we will be having this module 1, so that will be the repetition for you. Thank you.